Welcome into the lounge presented by DraftKings. We are fired up today to have Trenton Simpson stopping by the lounge to have a conversation. And Trenton, just this is the time where the offseason program is coming to a close. So it's been kind of an eventful few months for you, from training to getting drafted to showing up here and going through the whole full offseason. So how you feeling right now?
Man, I feel blessed. I've had a great process. Every day I feel like I've came in here, got better, got closer with my teammates, and I feel like we're grinding, and I'm excited for the season.
So what was it like just going through this process and kind of your first taste of the NFL? Now, you've gone through practices. Of course, you know that like the intensity ramps up in training camp, preseason games, all that stuff. But what was kind of the first taste of the NFL like for you?
It's definitely another level, the attention to details, and just focusing on the small details at this level because everybody's so talented. So just doing the right things, following my coaches, and just being led by my teammates and being a great leader as a rookie.
Now, what do you plan to do, I guess, between now and the start of training camp? And there was a lot of talk about you've been a great star in college, but you also played special teams. So curious about how you fit in with the special teams you thought, and moving forward, what you think your role will be as far as this season.
I love my role on special teams. Just being able to be versatile, be able to play on all special teams. And I definitely feel like I'm the guy that can come in on third down and get the sacks. If you need somebody spot a quarterback, come off the ball and jump and get some tips, stuff like that. Like, that's definitely my role. So I'm excited to see what the coaches have for me. But I know I'm going to come up every day, come ready to learn and just compete, and whatever opportunity I get, make the most of it.
Yeah, Trenton, there was a lot of talk. I know that obviously you were a great college player as a linebacker, but that you would contribute special teams with the Ravens as a rookie. So curious how that went and what you see your role might be in that area moving forward.
I'm excited about my role, just being versatile, being able to play all special teams and have an impact on the game. Special teams is a phase of the game, just like offensive defense. So playing a huge role in that, and then coming in, making big plays on defense whenever they put me in. And if they have packages to spot a quarterback or anything, I'm just willing to every opportunity I get to make the most of it. So, yeah.
So in college, did you do special teams? Remind me.
Yeah, early in my career. So my freshman, sophomore year.
And once you got big time at the end of your career, you don't have to worry about it. And just what is the mentality? Because the Ravens, you probably have found this to be the case already. Special teams is important here. John Harbaugh, former special teams coach. So special teams is kind of, in a lot of ways, the foundation and the backbone of this team. And there's been a long history of guys who have played special teams and then taken on larger roles on the defense. So what is kind of your approach and your mentality when it comes to the special teams side of things?
That rep on special teams is just important as a rep starting on defense, and the game on the line, you got to get a stop. That's the mentality. Like, it's a one-play mentality, and every play counts. So I go out there, give it all I got, one play at a time, hopefully go out there and handle business every time. So, yeah.
Now, I know there was talk after the draft, obviously coming to the Ravens, you're joining a couple of really good linebackers, Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen. Roquan, leader, maybe a role model type guy. Just tell me about the relationship that you guys have had so far, not only with Roquan, with PQ, and some of the things you've already learned from them since you've been here.
Yeah, man. Since I got here, Roquan and Patrick definitely took me under their wing. We working every day, competing. And I can say one thing with those two great linebackers, man, is the attention to detail. It's very huge, and having pre-snap alignments and reads, they can put you ahead of the play before the play even starts. Like we always say as linebackers, win the play before the ball even snaps. Have an idea where the ball is going. So just slowly growing and just watching the way they move, I know I definitely can learn every day. And I just come in, and I'm young and hungry and ready to learn and get as much knowledge as I can from them. So.
Yeah, so I remember when on draft night you talked about Roquan, like he was a guy that you watched, right? Growing up, and that he's kind of the model.
Yeah, no, man. I remember watching his Buckets Award year, him at Georgia. He was a beast, and just growing up, I'm from Columbus, Georgia, so watching Georgia growing up and seeing him in his college days was cool. And, to be a teammate now is truly a blessing. I'm ready to work,
When you are a young player and you step into that room and you have Roquan, who's, the highest paid linebacker in the game, you have Patrick Queen, first-round pick, he's going to get a big payday, at some point in his career. And you step into that room, do you have to sort of I don't know. Is there? Can you kind of be in awe to a certain extent? And do you have to say, well, all right, I belong in here too? Like, how do you kind of handle that? I watched this guy growing up. I respect him incredibly, but also I belong here in this room. Well, how do you kind of handle all that?
I truly feel like it made me hungry. Just to be able to be in a room with a guy who is the highest paid linebacker, and that's where I want to be one day. It makes me hungry to know that's the standard. That's what it looks like to make that type of money. So every day, just watching the way he lift, we in the weight room, I got to lift as hard. I got to take every every opportunity I get to improve, to take it like it's my life on the line, and I feel like I can get there. So just working hard and just trusting my coaches, and every day just building brick by brick, I'll get there one day. So.
Reading up on you since the Ravens drafted you, your father was an Army major, is that correct?
Yeah.
Not the normal, profile of all the guys who come through here. Yeah. Tell me what that was like. You moved around a lot growing up, and any of that, how that played into the type of football player you are, because everyone talks about, the way you just fly around the field.
Yeah. I definitely feel like my father and my family instilled a lot of that in me growing up. Just working hard, playing relentless. Like my father always told me, like, if you play hard, you give it all you got, and every rep, you empty the tank after every game, like, you're going to be happy with your results. So I just try to play as hard as I can, and play for my teammates and represent the last name on my jersey every time I get on that field. So that's my goal.
Now, was your father a strict guy, number one? And number two, I read he jumped out of planes. Is that ever something you did or want to do?
No. I just play ball. I'm not into that. But I definitely heard a lot of cool stories about the stuff he's done in the military, and I'm proud for him to be my father. But just for me, it was going to college, getting my degree, and playing football. I wasn't into that. So,
yeah, I read that. You spent time on military bases as a kid, right?
Yes, sir.
And so you would bounce around. I read one story. Tell me if this is true. That you would at times, say to some of the fellow Army Rangers out there, you would demand some push-ups from different guys when you're on a military base. When you're like 10 years old, 5 years old, whatever it was. Yeah, is that true?
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, my dad, like when I would come on base, like everybody respected my dad. So like I was a young guy, I felt like I was, trying to be like my dad. Like I seen him lead a lot of people, and like just me growing up, like that's where I feel like I get my leadership from, and just my willingness to lead by example. Work hard, and then when you work hard, people follow. So
yeah. I think it's a really fascinating story, just that history, and I got to believe that it obviously in a lot of ways kind of made you who you are, but it's challenging too. He's 17 overseas tours as an Army Ranger.
Yeah.
And what was that like as a kid when it's you have to say goodbye to your dad a lot, and he's spending a lot of time on the other side of the world and some pretty bad places, and dealing with some dangerous situations. How did you kind of process and handle that as a young man?
I feel like at a young age, it taught me a lot about sacrifice and hard work and dedication. My dad went away to make sure I was able to be provided with things I needed growing up. So it just had it allows me to have understand where I'm at now in life. Like I live my dream. I'm in the NFL, but now I've learned a lot about sacrifice and just every day. Like that's how both of my parents are. They never miss work. They were there every day, and they always showed up. So I feel like with my football characteristics, that's where I get it from. Like showing up every play, giving it all I got, and emptying the tank every day, and you'll be happy with your results every time. So that's something I feel like both of my parents instilled in me.
Mm. Now, I read you were a running back starting out in high school and then switched. How did that come about? Tell me about that.
So I was running back my whole life. I was always really good. I could score. Even my senior year, I could run that thing. But I just kept growing. And once I hit 6'3", like my coach and high school coach, Paul Mary, he was just like, man, I need you to get down there at the end and see what you can do. Just rush off, just show speed. And ever since then, I just remember my senior year, I had 20 sacks. I left high school as a 5-star, and just linebacker was what was best for me in my football career for longevity wise, and I stuck with it. And now I'm here with Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, there's not too many 6'3" running backs in the game. Unless you're gonna be Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
And does that running back? Do you still have that? Are you going to be over there saying, hey, if you ever need somebody, if you're ever short, I still got these skills.
All I would say is when I catch a pick, I'm not getting tackled. I'm going to the house every time. So when I catch a pick, I'm scoring.
Awesome. Yeah, that's good. How did you decide on Clemson?
I say I took an official visit. I met with the staff, Coach Dabo Sweeney and Coach Brent Venables. Those are two amazing coaches. I felt like that was the place that fitted me, education-wise and sports-wise, and it was close to home. I wanted my family to be able to come see all my games, and that's what Clemson allowed. All my games I had 15 family members deep. They always had tickets for me and stuff. So just staying close to home, and then I was able to go in there and get my degree in 3 years, and I feel like that was just a place for me at heart, and that was my dream school from the start. So
you graduated in 3 years?
Yes, sir.
And was that a goal going in? Because a lot of guys don't graduate in 4, sometimes longer than that, especially as a football player too, where you have a ton of commitments away from the academic side of things, but you were able to pull that off in 3 years. How?
Yeah, that was my goal. I left high school early as well. So I graduated in December of my high school year, and I came straight into Clemson. But that was the goal. I was the first generational college graduate, and that was a goal for myself that I wanted to set the standard in my family. So that's always been my mindset. Like I want to get the education part because I know physically I can take care of football, but just setting the standard, getting my education, and just showing my family members and my cousins and stuff like it can be done was my goal from the get-go. So yeah.
Now, people talk about your versatility. I'm just curious, what do you see as your strength as a player, and do you feel like at the NFL level, what kind of player do you envision yourself being? In your mind, when I'm playing my best football, I'm doing what?
Moving full speed. Like when I'm moving full speed and I'm just playing fast, physical football, that's when I'm at my best. But I feel like when I'm blitzing, I'm super comfortable. Spying the quarterback in coverage. In coverage, I feel super comfortable. I feel like I can guard any tight end. I was doing it in college, but I feel comfortable out there. But whenever I'm playing fast, physical football, like I'm at my best. So yeah.
4.43 40.
4.43. Yes,
and so when you saw that time at the combine, like, what did you think? Like, how good did that feel?
It was the best feeling because it just solidified how fast I was, and it's in print now, But I've always been pretty fast. I ran track in high school, and I went to when I was down training for the combine, I really put in a lot of hard work. So just to see that work pay off and to be 4.43 was a big deal for me. So.
I mean, there's not receivers. You're faster than probably some of the receivers on the team and some of the DBs.
Yeah, I can run, man. It's genetics, got good genetics, and I work hard. So, yeah, pretty fast.
Yeah, I don't want to be a running back or a tight end catching a pass in a flat and having 4.43 Trenton Simpson come down on me.
No. You were asked about this after you were drafted, but your reaction after being drafted, I mean, it was priceless. I guess, where did all that emotion, do you think it came from?
It's crazy because going into that night, I promised Mom, like, I'm not going to be emotional. But, like, when I got that call, it's like I worked my whole life, like, and just to get there. Like, my mom tell me all the time, like, she was like, she's never met nobody who's had a dream and literally followed it exactly how you dreamed it from when you started it. So, it just felt good. And to have my family there and have my mom right beside me, like, we've worked so hard. She's been there every step of the way. But for me, man, like, I just believe in myself. Every day I have a lot of confidence and I know I'm going to put in the work. So to get drafted and just be able to live my dream and show my family that it can be done, like NFL is possible. It was the best feeling in the world. Like it was a moment of a lifetime for sure.
Yeah, you may be the only draft pick who's ever hung up on Eric DeCosta.
Yeah, so me, I didn't know how that process went. I thought like all I heard was this Eric DeCosta with the Baltimore Ravens. You want to be a Raven? Okay, I put the pick in, and I thought that was it. But yeah. So.
Has he talked to you about that?
Yeah, we talked about it, and I told her I apologize. I was just blessed to get that call, and once it came through and he told me he was drafting me, I was just so relieved. I was so relieved, and I know my mom was as well. So it was the best feeling in the world.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm always curious to hear players' draft stories because, on one hand you have like this great moment, but a lot of guys always talk about the wait and like the agony of like you have this like high and low where it's like you're waiting, you don't know if it's going to happen, and then you have this jubilation. So how do you look back on draft weekend?
I would say I didn't expect to maybe fall as far as I did, and that gave me a lot of like it was a lot going on that night. Like I was just like I felt like I had a lot of emotions running through me. But like once that call came in, the wait was well worth it, And that's one thing I can truly say about that night. Like during the process when my phone wasn't ringing, like I was just so frustrated. Like I was trying to keep my composure and stuff. But once the call did come through, it just like it felt like all the weight of the world like lifted off my shoulder, and that was like the best feeling. Like seeing that area code pop up on my phone and to be able to talk to the GM, and just know that like I'm going to a great organization and a team that wins and, have great coaches and great players was the best feeling.
Yeah, it sounded in talking with Eric DeCosta and hearing him after the draft and John Harbaugh, as they saw the board falling, it sounded like you weren't necessarily someone who was on the radar because you could likely have been gone. Mm-hmm. And it's not like inside linebacker was a huge need here,
right.
But they're like, this guy he's the best guy on our board. And like, this is the pick. I mean, it's just, you trust the process. And that's something that the Ravens have talked about for a long time. They trust their scouting process. They go through all of that. And then once the board is set on draft weekend, they trust it. Yeah. And you were the guy who ended up being there. Did you think that Baltimore was a likely destination? Were you surprised when you saw the 410 area code?
To be completely honest, I was very surprised. Yeah. But I was super excited about the opportunity. So I was blessed to be here for sure.
Yeah, I think they were surprised that you were there.
Yeah.
Too. I mean, I think it was one of those maybe mutual things where it's like, and this has happened many times. Like last year when the Ravens drafted Kyle Hamilton, they were like, we never expected Hamilton to be there at 14, and then they ended up getting him. And I kind of put you in a similar category that they didn't necessarily expect you to be there, but when you were there, you were the best player on the board, and they say we can find a way to make him have some splash plays on this defense.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Now, Clemson obviously known for having great teams, great defense. You're learning a new system. Just tell me, I'm curious about what do you think about the learning process of playing in this defense, and do you feel now that you're playing fast like you were in college, or is it still sometimes like, well, I gotta figure things out before I make a move?
I truly feel like I picked up the defense really well. Like the last practice, minicamp, I felt comfortable. I was out there making plays, guarding people, communicating with the line, getting the front set and stuff like that. So I feel like I'm not going to say it was easy because I put in the work outside of the time here. So I feel like my dedication has allowed me to pick up the playbook and, talk to my teammates, talk to my coaches. And it's definitely been pretty like a good process of learning the playbook and being able to go out there and execute. So
when you were at Clemson, you were a top 20 recruit, right? Yeah. In the country, one of the top 20 recruits. So what was that recruiting process like? You probably had every coach in the country hitting you up, trying to get you to come play for them.
It was a cool process. I was able to go see different colleges. A lot of people came to my school and came and watched me practice, was building relationships with me. I definitely say that was a great process for me. It was a blessing just to be able to go on these trips, just see the new cities, like places I've never been before, taking official visits, things like that. But it was cool. It was a cool process. But at the end, like I knew where I wanted to go. Like it came down to Carolina or Clemson, and I knew Clemson was the best place for me. So
yeah.
When we talked to Lamar and the receivers after, say, minicamp, we're like, are you guys going to hook up and throw? Are you guys going to work together? What are you going to do between now and the time when we start training camp to get yourself ready for that?
Continue to stay on the grind. Me, Tavius, and Caillou gonna go work. We're gonna get some work in. Those are my two rookie buddies, So we stay together. We work pretty hard, and just continue to stay in shape and be ready to come back and get to the grind. I'm ready to go win a Super Bowl, and I'm ready to be a part of a winning team. Go in there and maximize my opportunities and maximize my role to make sure I benefit this year's team.
When you were drafted, on the call when we talked to you, maybe 10 minutes, and it's an emotional time, like we mentioned, but you made the point that you feel like you're going to be one of the greats.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the emotions flying through you at that time, but at the same time, you said it with conviction and belief. What made you confident to say that and to have that belief that you're going to be somebody that people know and remember here for a long time?
That's just how I was raised. If you met my mom, you would see where it comes from. You just got to believe in yourself, and that's how I was always raised by my mom. Like if you believe in yourself, that's all that matters. And I just feel like I know I'm gonna put in the work. I've done it my whole life. I've started off at the bottom and worked my way to the top in every facet of my life, and that's where I get it from. Like I work hard, I put in the work, I live a disciplined life, I do the right things on and off the field. So I feel like God has given me the talents to be one of the greatest. So now I come in here, maximize my opportunities, stay healthy, and I feel like that when it's all said and done, I'll be proud of what I've done as a Raven. So.
Yeah, look at you. You can tell you're in great shape. The 4:40 time. Do you ever cheat diet while you eat ice cream, pizza? You're like a guy like maybe never does anything unhealthy.
Nah, I'm very, very disciplined on my diet. My mom flies in a day, so we might go get some insomnia cookies or something. Like when I'm with my moms, I break my diet here and there. But I just know, okay, when I eat this cookie, when I come back Monday, I got to go get some work in and sweat it off and get some work. But I don't really try to break my diet as much. I try to stay healthy. Stay away from the red meat, stuff like that. Grilled chicken salmon is what normally my go-to. So
okay.
Yeah, one insomnia cookie in the off season. That's all that Trenton allows himself.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, it's been a pleasure talking with you today. Can't wait to see you on the field in training camp, in the preseason, and the regular season. I think big things are in store. So thank you so much for the time.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Well, big thanks to Trenton for stopping by the SeatGeek studio here. We also want our listeners and our viewers to know that the DraftKings Sportsbook is the official sports betting partner of the Baltimore Ravens, and it has a limited time offer that you do not want to miss. All right, Cliff, here's what you need to do. You download the DraftKings Sportsbook app using the code FLOCK. If you're a new customer, you can get a deposit bonus of up to $1,000. That's only at the DraftKings Sportsbook with the promo code FLOCK. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER. You need to be 21 or older and physically present in Maryland to play. So really enjoy the conversation with Trenton.
Yes.
Just excited to hear about his expectations for the upcoming season and what he sees his role as. I think he's going to be he's going to have an important role on this team. I think it will be special teams, but I think that he could find his way onto this defense in some certain packages. When you run like he does, it's going to be hard to keep him off the field.
Yeah, I mean, we know he's fast. We know that he had success as a blitzer in college. He can cover guys too, tight ends, running backs. So I am interested to see how he's used defensively. Yeah, we know special teams he's going to flash, but as a linebacker, he's had so much versatility, and Mike McDonald's like using players in different roles. It is going to be fascinating to see how he's used as a rookie, and I feel he could be one of those guys that the longer the season progresses, the more you may see him. He's disciplined. Said he didn't have much problem picking up the defense, and that always helps you play fast. So, yeah, he's kind of an under-the-radar, rookie, I think, to watch this year.
Well, we've talked like a good amount about positionless football over the past few years, especially on defense. And he kind of embodies that.
Absolutely.
Like, that's exactly what he is. Like, he talked about, this was high school, but when he switched from running back to defense, it wasn't just an inside linebacker, but he was putting his hand in the dirt and basically rushing as a pass rusher. When you run like he does, he's faster than some of the corners and safeties on this team. 4.43, he's one of the faster players on this team. So, he can fly around the field. So, like, he has that speed if you want to put him in a role where he has to cover a tight end. You're not going to put him out there at cornerback, but he has the speed to cover a tight end, a receiver in a pinch, running backs out of the backfield. And so he can just be kind of a jack of all trades, similar. And like the things that we're saying with him, we've said with other players in recent years. Like Kyle Hamilton kind of fits that mold a little bit in the sense of he played down in the box last year as a nickel. Now he's playing more of a traditional safety role. Brandon Stevens is a guy who we've talked about in that role, can just do a little bit of everything. That just seems to be the way the game is moving, and Trenton really embodies that. Yeah,
no question. And on this defense, joining one that has so much talent, as an offense, you look at the Ravens defense, you've got Roquan flying around there, PQ. He's a guy that he's not going to draw double teams, I wouldn't think, right away. He's a guy that kind of maybe can take advantage of playing in a system where he's going to be able to do different things and where he's not the number one gun who everybody's trying to load up on to stop if he decides to come on a blitz. So it is, I think, a really good situation for him where he doesn't have to carry a major load as a rookie, but if he plays himself into a role, he can certainly help his defense.
Yeah, and I like his mindset, his attitude. Really likable guy. Enjoyed the conversation with him. Clearly disciplined. Maybe he'll give himself a cookie during the break here, but that's it. So disciplined, smart player, and I like. This is a guy going into college who was one of the top recruits in the entire country. Everybody wanted him.
Yep.
Everybody wanted him. He's played on both sides of the ball. And so I just think that he's going to be he's a really talented player who I think will find a role on the team this year and then could blossom into something bigger from there. So I'm excited about him. So in terms of other stuff, Cliff, before we wrap up here today, we also want our listeners to know you can email us at thelounge@ravens.nfl.net. We always love getting the emails that everyone sends to us, so send those in. This is kind of the slow time here where guys are getting a little bit of a break. Trent, like he mentioned, he's spending time with his mom here, who's coming to visit and show her around. But as we go into this break time and looking at the big picture view of where this team stands, just from a defensive standpoint, what do you think of where this defense is as a whole right now, and what do you like about where the group is?
I think there's a lot to like. Spent a lot of time mini camp and even OTAs watching Marcus Williams and Kyle Hamilton kind of work together as a tandem at safety, something we didn't see a lot last year. I think that's going to be a strength of this defense. Definitely got to see some of the younger defensive linemen. Matt Abuike is still a young guy coming into his own. Travis Jones, Broderick Washington, kind of a younger defensive line out of Calais Campbell's going. All those guys look good. Obviously, Roquan, PQ in the middle, and then Ojabo and Owe on the outside. Those guys got a lot of time. I think this defense is coming together. We're still going to – who's going to be the number 3 corner? Looks like Rocket Sin's going to be the guy next to Marlon, but that situation is one to watch coming into training camp. But collectively, Mike McDonald, second year as defensive coordinator, so much talent, so much speed on this defense. I like it.
Yeah, I like the speed. It's good to have fast players. Like, that's a simple way of looking at it. Trenton is someone who fits the mold there, but he's not the only one. They got a bunch of fast players who can, and McDonald can be creative in how he gets these guys on the field. The packages that he builds, I just think he's going to have a lot of flexibility, and I think that's good as a defensive coordinator. So, as always, you can email us at thelounge@ravens.nfl.net. Send us your emails, and this is kind of a break time for the players, so a lot of guys are heading out of town now to get a little bit of relaxation, also continue training ahead of training camp starting in late July. So that's it for us. Thank you so much. We'll talk with you again soon.